Thanks for joining us for Khari Free at Last on Bounce23 TV. I'm Khari Enaharo. This summer we celebrated our much talked about freedoms in America. Do we really have freedom, or is it an illusion? Some say all Americans are being spied on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. What is freedom in America in 2014? Joining me is TalkTainmentRadio.com host Jallow, the Reverend John Coates, and Donella Martin-Braddix. Freedom. What is freedom, Reverend Coates?
No, Khari, there's an old Negro spiritual that says that everybody talking about heaven ain't necessarily going there, and I guess everybody talking about freedom don't necessarily have it. But freedom is the basic liberties that we're guaranteed in the Constitution within the Bill of Rights within our country. That's what I think about.
The basic liberties.
The basic liberties, freedom of speech, freedom of the press.
The Bill of Rights.
Exactly, public assembly, and the right to bear arms. That's right, the right to bear arms. Now, I want to be able to bear my arms.
So you want to be able to have your 22 beneath your pillow.
And stand my ground.
And stand your ground.
And stand my ground.
That's another subject another day. Jallow, what's freedom to you?
Freedom to come and go as you please without the opportunity of having to have a passport or a social security number so that they can track you, you know, say that you have to pay taxes to the IRS every year. If not, then they're going to jail you. That ain't freedom.
Well, that's Obamacare. That's a different subject. What is freedom to you, Donella?
I think freedom for me is definitely a lot of the freedoms that we enjoy in this country. The freedom to choose our own profession, the freedom to choose who we marry. And these are freedoms that we take for granted that not everybody in the world has.
And so we're at a point now where we talk about these freedoms all the time. Other countries want to commit terrorist acts against us because they are envious of the freedoms we have. Is that right, Reverend Coates?
Well, you know, that's some of the propaganda that we're fed, is that other countries are envious of our freedoms.
They're not?
Well, America does have a certain degree of freedoms that other countries don't have. Like, for instance,
We's free now. We's free now.
It's the freedom to prosper, but the problem is that we live within a system that kind of has the illusions all over the place.
But wait a minute, for black people, this is freedom, and we've come out of slavery. What do you mean?
Okay.
I mean, we're no longer in chains, we're no longer in bondage. We's free now.
Behind bars now.
We's free now.
You all locked up behind bars now.
Ain't we free now?
You behind bars now.
What are you talking about?
Privatizing of the prison.
Listen, we are free.
When the Bill of Rights was written, we were enslaved.
Thank you.
Wait a minute, son. Wait a minute, son. Land of the brave, home of the free. We are free.
We're free for some people, not all people.
Oh, no. If we think about freedom in America, we think about freedom of speech, we think about freedom to assembly, we think about free to love who you want to love. In some countries, marriages are arranged.
Wait a minute. Are you reading from an Obama speech script?
No.
To love who you want to love? That's straight from President Obama's speech.
We are free, son. I mean, that's the wonderfulness about America. And we should celebrate that, shouldn't we?
What I think is that if I lay hands on you right now, that you can be delivered from that delusion in which you're functioning with right now. I'll just tell it to come out, you know, because you're channeling Francis Scott Keys for some reason. I can't.
Well, I think the debate with you two is that, you know, there is freedom, but there's not necessarily equal access to all of the perks that we get from having this freedom. It's free, but it's not necessarily fair.
Yeah, what we think is that we're free to freaknik, that we're free, that we're free to walk around with our pants hanging off of our behind.
Well, so that's freedom of speech.
Well, actually, that's not necessarily free anymore.
Yes,
you have some cities where it has become illegal.
And you know what? That's going to be overturned because that's freedom of speech. Who was that? 2 Live Crew? Remember how they were? They said they couldn't say this. They said they couldn't say that. They took it to the Supreme Court. What the Supreme Court say?
Yeah,
freedom of speech. And it opened up all of this crap that we're now dealing with. Jallow?
I totally
You was a big fan of the 2 Live Crew.
First of all,
you know how I know? I heard you listening. No.
I saw her dancing to it.
I like hip-hop, not gangster rap. Big difference, I'll tell you.
But freedom, it means a lot to us, does it not?
It should mean a lot to us. I mean, we celebrate in this country as if we are free, but we were still, you know, held captive in slaves when the proclamation was issued.
We are not in slavery now. I get tired of that slavery argument, Reverend John Coates. Why do you, Donella, and Earth use that all the time?
We're not in slavery? Did the
No,
Emancipation Proclamation
we's free now.
No, it didn't, John.
It did free
No,
us.
it didn't. No, it did not.
You can't say we're not in slavery. 1 out of 100
How are we in
people.
slavery?
1 in 100. America imprisons more of its population than any industrialized country in the world.
Yes.
But
Okay?
that's the cost of being free.
That's not the cost of being free. We're just
you got some people who are free enough to act a fool, and you got to keep them under control.
Right, so then...
That's freedom.
So you're telling me then that people that are outside of our community don't act a fool too?
Right.
No, that's because there's a disparity in sentencing that takes place within our country. That means that there's unequal law application.
You're saying we're not free. That's what you're saying. Somebody's really watching you. Up next on Khari, Free at Last. Welcome back to Khari, Free at Last on Bounce23 TV. I'm Khari Enaharo. Whistleblower Edward Snowden says the National Security Agency spies on innocent people who are dealing with everyday issues like love and heartbreak, personal family traumas, mental health crisis, political and religious conversations like me and Reverend Coach might have, financial anxieties, and disappointed hopes. Why would they want this kind of information? Are they using it against us or keeping America safe? Joining me is TalkTainmentRadio.com host Irv Jallow, Reverend John Coates, and Donella Martin-Braddix. All right, now, look, NSA, the National Security Agency, and President Obama say, look, we need information on your heartbreaks. We need information on your mental health issues. We need information on your family troubles so we can keep America safe.
Whatever.
We can keep that from terrorism, and that we spy on this to keep America safe. You buy that?
No. I don't buy it, but what's the insult that's added to the injury is not only do they spy on us, but somehow, some way, they've gotten us to voluntarily participate in the process.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. Yeah, we're going to get to that. But the question is, let's talk about this National Security Agency. This great, big, powerful force, and they got building this great, big data center out in Utah, Mitt Romney's home, out in Utah, where they'll be storing data forever on everybody. Why? What are they going to do with that information? Who cares about somebody?
Let's look at, well, first, I'm glad you
Why
said
are they doing this?
Well, I'm glad you said Utah, because we have to think about what else exists in Utah as it relates to the federal government. That is where your National Ancestral Archive is kept at as well.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you have your family history, since they've been here in America,
right,
kept in Utah, and now they're going to keep the current data in Utah as well. So I just find that interesting.
That's huge. That is. Irv Jallow, why is the National Security... Look, we pay taxes for the National Security Agency. Why are we paying taxes to be spied on if what Edward Snowden says is true?
What better way than to keep your people under thumb than to be able to control them, their eating habits, their thinking habits, what
this
they
is
view
America,
on television.
Though. This is America.
Doesn't matter where you are.
Where might makes right.
Doesn't
where
matter.
Freedom is guaranteed.
What better
we
way?
have the Bill of Rights. They can't do that.
Well, they're doing it.
How?
And what are we doing about it?
What do you mean?
But like John said, going right along with it by getting on Facebook, Instagram.
Wait a minute. How can they do that?
Because according to Section 702 of the FISA, law, which is the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Agency, they are allowed to do so. So actually, if you want to look at...
You mean to tell me I am paying taxes to an agency to spy on me and my conversation I would have with my spouse, me and my conversation I'd have with my children, me and my conversation, any mental health disorders I have, even if I go buy a pack of cigarettes,
she just said something even more powerful.
Scary
she said
to
was
me.
FISA, foreign intelligence.
Ladies
and gentlemen, the United States of America has been deemed a foreign territory so that our government can legally then spy on us.
So they're spying on the citizens.
Yeah. Absolutely.
9/11 opened up the door to all of that.
Well, according to
why are we going for this?
Because we want to feel safe.
That's brilliant, John Coates. So safe is a psychological. What do you mean feel safe?
We want to feel like our government is protecting us, and so if we give them all of these freedoms to monitor your phone calls, watch you through the television, control what you listening to, then absolutely we feel safe.
Feel safe is red, yellow, green. Okay, at the airport.
Get naked
if
at the
those
airport.
are the right colors, because that gives us a state of security that somebody's on top of it.
You can walk through the airport now, and they can see all of your private parts. And we go for it.
And we went for it.
Why?
Because we crazy.
Feel safe.
Have we lost our minds in this country?
Well, what I think is that we've been, as a people, we've been pacified. We've been pacified by the propaganda, which is, you know, America is free, the rest of the world is jealous, and we have to, you know, suffer these sacrifices in order to protect our freedom. What we're not realizing is that it's not necessarily a political movement, but what it is, business. It's big business. And business is politics.
And they're driving the reductions of our freedoms. Is Edward Snowden a hero, or is he a traitor?
Well, according to the American public, as it related to after his NBC interview, over 60% of the American public now view him as a hero and not as a villain, because as a result of him taking the information, we know things that we didn't know before that the government was doing to us.
What do you mean, like what,
we did not know that we were being observed, that our cell phones and we're tracking systems, we're handheld tracking systems. Yes, cell phones help to bridge the digital. Your cell phone helped to bridge the digital divide, but the cell phone also helped the government look into your daily activities.
Just know where you are.
And I mean, look into your daily activities.
But know where you are at any given time.
And look at you.
I don't understand it. Wait a minute. I am supposed to be free. I grew up saying that this is the freest country in the world. I don't want to hear y'all talk like this.
Well, the thing about
y'all are insane. That can't be true.
There's no reason for you to think that you're actually free as long as you're watching Scandal, where you look at that scene where, you know, the woman comes in and says, hey, guess what? It doesn't matter whether your cell phone is on or off. It's recording everything. So we have the facts that are being disguised by fiction.
Wait a minute, doesn't matter whether it's on or off?
Doesn't matter whether it's on or off.
I'm throwing mine in the water right now.
Olivia told us.
So even, you know, the fiction, even Hollywood is trying to tell us what's going on. Whether we take it seriously or not, or think it's a problem, is up to us.
No, who was that that did that movie? Enemy of State.
Enemy of State, Will Smith.
Enemy of State showed you that.
Yes, it
so
did.
what you're telling me is that I'm walking around here in an illusion. I am not free?
I spoke to a building contractor the other day, and she told me that when she has a roofing company, and she says that when they want to measure the roof of a house and they can't get up on that house or that building, they order the global pictures so they can actually look at the dimensions and the condition of a roof based on satellite data.
Which means they can look through your house.
They can look through your house and look you dead in your face.
Which was also portrayed in another Hollywood movie, which people took as fiction.
Well, you know what? The first one that came out, They Live. Remember that? I think it was like 83. When you put on the glasses.
No, I remember that, but anyway.
You put on the glasses and you can read the billboards and whatnot. And behind, when you put on the sunglasses, it said obey.
Google glasses.
And this and that. Yeah, so Google glasses now they're out. So they've been telling us for quite a long time
that this is
what's been going on.
Why? Why? I don't understand, Reverend Coach. You're in the politics. Tell me why. What do politicians need to know so much for?
Because it's about control, and it's about actually taking our liberties away, or at least perceived liberties away from us as American people.
And we go for it.
Absolutely.
My goodness. Did the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency, invent Facebook? Up next on Khari, Free at Last. Welcome back to Khari, Free at Last on Bounce23 TV. I'm Khari Enaharo. According to authors like Brian Stabley, Facebook was set up by the CIA to collect trillions of pieces of information on as many people as they could. Stabley claims that Facebook has accumulated the world's largest database and is the biggest spying operation ever invented. Woo! Joining me is TalkTainmentRadio.com host Irv Jallow, Reverend John Coates, and Donella Martin-Braddix. Facebook. Now, I got three Facebookers here. Oh, you can't stay off Facebook day in, day out. Even doing the show, you on Facebook.
That ain't true.
Do you believe the Central Intelligence Agency uses Facebook to control and spy on people?
I absolutely believe it. Yes,
Well, why are you on Facebook then?
Well, because, you know, what I put on Facebook, I'm like, it's general common knowledge. I mean, you know, you don't have to do nothing. They already been monitoring my phone calls for years, so, you know, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. Do I like it? No.
Why not just get off of Facebook? Why do you have to put on there when you're going to be home? I mean, some of the information on there is incredible.
It's crazy.
Now they're using it to hire and fire people. They check their Facebooks.
Absolutely.
Have we lost our minds with this, Reverend Coates?
Well, you know, I know we like to give Mr. Zuckerberg a lot of credit for the creation of Facebook, but the behavioral specialists that helped to design Facebook knew what addictive behavior is, okay? Not was, but what it is. And they created an entity in Facebook so that we would voluntarily give them all of our data. Now listen to this word.
Total awareness.
Now, listen to it. It's called metadata. Metadata. Metadata means is that you take a picture of your dog, okay? And then you post the name of your dog. This is my dog, Spot, okay? So now they know that you have a dog named and we have a picture of the dog. We know what the dog's name is, and then through the GPS system that's tied in through your telephone, and not just your telephone, ladies and gentlemen, but your home computer has a GPS-type tracking mechanism in it, an address, okay, where they can physically find the address. Now we know where you are located.
Now, do you believe the CIA invented Facebook, fronted it, financed it? And this guy also says that they put $12 million in it, not the 500,000. The movie says 12 million and even millions more to push it out there. Do you believe that?
Well, you know, Khari, I am not a conspiracy theorist. However, even I have to say, it sounds like, you know, it does sound like it's a project by the CIA.
Why?
Because for everything that you said.
This is nothing but social media.
Well,
it's a wonderful way to connect with people you haven't connected with in years. My God, it's such a marvelous thing. How could you ever think the Central Intelligence Agency is behind it?
Well, you know, the thing about it is, aside from the articles that have come out that have been linking, you know, the government agencies to Facebook activity, if you're just a regular Facebook user and you go on to Facebook, suddenly, even the ads that pop up, it's almost like they know what you're doing. If you went to a previous website before, you know, 10 minutes before, something is going to pop up designed to get you to spend money on something that you were looking for. What I've been seeing lately, actually, and I'm going to say as a personal Facebook user, I've actually been seeing information and ads that pop up that I can't even remember being linked to my internet activity.
Now, what about these friends? I mean, your generation just knocks me out. You got friends you ain't never seen before. I don't know whether friends are human or robots, but everybody, oh, I've got 4,000 friends. I've got 10,000. You ain't never seen them. You ain't never shook hands. How can you call them friends?
I know all my Facebook friends personally. All 4,000 of them. I know them all. I met them. Or they're friends of a friend or something, you know. But yeah, seriously, because I preach all over the country. So therefore, I have relationships all over the place. So that I don't befriend anyone that I don't know.
Yes.
What do you mean, friends? You don't know these people.
You know, the thing about...
You ain't never seen them. They pop up and they call you your friends. How do you know they're your friends? You don't know nothing about them.
Well, you know what is programmed or what they put onto Facebook. For me, I'm like John. I don't friend people that I don't know or don't have a phone.
You know why y'all so lethargic about this?
Why?
It's because you are all addicted to it.
Absolutely.
You're addicts, and you don't want to give up your addiction.
It is true.
Yes, you.
It is true. It is. Facebook, with the help of the Central Intelligence Agency, has been able to tap into the most basic needs and addictions of the human psyche. And yes, it is addictive.
Why are you victimized? Why do you remain a victim to this?
Because Americans are willing to have the comfort.
No, I ain't talking about America. I'm talking about you.
Okay, I'm willing to have the immediate comfort and the immediate pleasure that Facebook gives me. Yes, somewhere in the back of my mind, I know, my goodness,
but they're spying on
But guess
you.
what?
Don't care?
My credit report, okay?
You don't care?
They're looking at my credit report. They're monitoring my medical records.
Jallow.
They're monitoring my actions.
Cannot go 5 seconds without a phone in her hand.
Donella told you why.
She can't do it.
She said it was pleasure.
If a phone was right here,
it's a pleasure. They found the pleasure spot.
I do
it's an addiction.
What do you mean it's an addiction?
It's an addiction.
Because if you...
compared to cocaine and marijuana or what have you, people enjoy using it because of what it does to them.
It makes them feel like they're stars.
Because of the experience that they have. So therefore, Facebook, social media, Twitter, etc., Pinterest...
It makes them feel like they're stars.
It also connects the entire world. So if you are doing business...
They said that about telephones.
If you are doing business... And look,
they said that about telegraph.
And look at the telephone, how it's fading out. And now you have this new social medium, which is...
Why are you addicted?
Because, again, the line of work that I do...
There's an addict speaking.
You're anti-technology.
The line of work that I do, it forces me to connect and make contact with people all over the world.
Listen to the confession of an addict.
You're anti-technology.
Justifying it.
You're anti-tech. You would be content with the age of the Pony Express.
Let me tell you something.
But you know what's funny? It's also spurred another psychological addiction. Addiction to selfies.
Yeah.
So it's putting new psychological, diagnoses in the lexicon, because of social media.
Don't you know what a selfie is?
We're a nation of addicts.
So they're using this to spy on us and control us and take away our freedom. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. And most importantly, using it to control what we spend our money on.
Your television does that.
You're telling me that you know something, y'all go for it.
Then you got TV.
So you've got nothing to hide? Up next on Khari, free at last on Bounce23 TV. Welcome back to Khari, free at last on Bounce23 TV. I'm Khari Enaharo. Google and Yahoo tell the federal government every website you visit. Did you know that all of your telephone calls, emails, texts, Twitters, and Instagrams go to the government? Heck, pretty soon they'll be able to read your mind. Does privacy matter anymore, or is it an outdated concept? Oh, one more thing. Are we living in a communist country or a democracy? Somebody please tell me. Joining me is TalkTainmentRadio.com host Earth Jallow, Reverend John Coates, and Donella Martin-Braddix. All right, now, wait a minute, Reverend Coates. You are preaching all this democracy, yet you're addicted to Facebook, yet you're supporting this stuff of spying, and yet you tell me we live in a democracy.
We live in a republic.
This feels like a communist nation that we're living in.
It feels that way. We live in a republic in which we voluntarily participate in these things.
No,
however,
it's not voluntary. You're addicted to it. You're an addict to it. An addict is not voluntary.
Well, no, but you take the pipe yourself and smoke it. You take the cocaine, you snort it for the first time. You take the joint, you smoke it for the first time. You lose the power over your mind. So
that's what addiction is.
But you made the first step. You make the first step. Some people are off the grid because they chose
subliminal.
To be.
When people don't have knowledge and you use subliminal powers to induce people, then you're not in control of your own mind. Someone else is controlling you. Then they get you addicted to it, and then it's all over with from there. And that's what's happening here. We don't have a democracy anymore. This feels like communism.
My name is
your
John
emails,
Coates.
wait a minute, your emails are checked, your texts are checked, your phone calls, I mean, everything that you do and say is being recorded and stored.
My name is John Coates.
Is this a democracy?
I'm addicted to Facebook.
Well, once again, technically, this isn't a democracy. It is a republic. Okay, that's a long-held myth.
It feels like East Berlin.
But the thing is this. In order for any government to operate, and America is not excluded from this, the government has to spy on its own people and have that level of control.
Oh, that's nonsense.
It is true.
That is
if you look at every presidential
Coates, do you accept
election,
that crap?
No,
that is absolute nonsense.
I'm surprised
it came out of her mouth.
I'm surprised she's saying that government has to spy on its own people. This ain't red China.
Okay, why is
it
that you never see the same situations that go on in other nations happen in America? Look at what's happening in the Ukraine today, for example. Why is it that whenever America has a new election, nothing changes?
Let me say this to you.
Constant stability.
Wait a minute.
What's the real government?
The Soviet Union spied on its citizens, and we gave them you-know-what for doing it. Tell me what's the difference between what we're getting done to us right now and what was doing during the Khrushchev and Stalin's era. Tell me what the difference is.
There's no difference.
So we're living in a communist state.
I totally agree with you. Anytime that you have to strip naked to get to the airplane.
It's ridiculous.
You got to tell people where you're going, when you're coming back, how long you're going to be there. You know,
your emails are tracked.
Your emails are tracked. Your phone
calls,
tracked.
your Twitters, your
Instagrams,
your Facebook, every website you go to.
What the frightening thing, the really frightening thing is that there was just a revelation that came out in the news that Facebook has been tracking and gathering information on its users.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
But guess what? There wasn't any outcry or mass rebellion from the American people.
No.
Why are we so docile against just dropping Facebook? There wasn't no protest. There wasn't no boycott called. Nothing. We just went along with it and said, oh, well.
That's the scare. That's what I mean, because Americans are addicted to it.
Yes, absolutely.
And we don't understand the nature of the addiction. We don't understand what's being done to us. We have moved from a democracy to something else. It feels that way. That's what I'm saying. This is what they do in the old Soviet Union, communist China. How in God's name did this happen, Reverend?
Well, but it's also what has traditionally and historically been done, even in our own country. Facebook isn't the first
COINTELPRO
is the first time, right?
NSA, is that what it is?
It's the same thing. What was COINTELPRO?
Spying on people.
Is where our government took its techniques.
Tell you right. Thank you so much. And spied on us. Thank you, the TalkTainmentRadio.com host, Earth Jallow, Donella Martin-Braddix, and the Reverend John Coates. And thank you for watching Khari Free at Last on Bounce23 TV.